So, Dad, with your grandson going to college, where's he going to college here?
Right here. Right, Cornell.
Cornell.
Or if you spell it this, Lockhart.
All right, John, I can hear that,
that's
so
Lena.
hurry up.
Oh, Lena?
Yeah, L-L-E-N-O.
Oh, I could never do that. Yeah. Well, I had trouble in all of college, actually.
Mm. Well, what can you tell us about Aiden?
Aiden is a wonderful boy. He's actually 17 now, so I guess he's a man now, right?
He's taller than me.
He's taller. He's almost as tall as Chris. Chris is like 6'4", I guess.
I don't think Chris is that tall.
No, he's
No, I think he
6'1",
is.
6'2".
No. I'm 6'1", 6'2".
I wouldn't be surprised if Aiden's taller than Chris. He looks pretty tall. He's so lanky.
Yeah, he is. But he doesn't have the bulk yet. So I think when he bulks up, he's going to be a hell of a server. You know, with that the height advantage. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a guy playing. I was watching the other day, and it was 6'10". Can you imagine the speed on his?
At Wimbledon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about Aiden. What?
Oh, Aiden is not 6'10".
He's not. Okay.
No, he's less than 6'10". He's about 100 pounds. No, I guess he's probably 150 pounds.
Yeah.
But you'll see him. Oh, hope you see him. You didn't see him last night, right?
Yeah, we saw
We had
him.
dinner with
All right.
Yeah.
I wanted to get your impression.
Oh, all right. No, he's a great kid. All my kids, my grandkids, are great. Oh, that plugged in well.
You're good.
We're going to have to redo the whole thing.
Yeah. I've taken many pictures like that. I remember my father taking pictures up in Maine. He got this new thing. It's a scan. So you could take a picture like this and scan the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So he could set it up and then run and get in the crowd. The only problem was when he loaded it, it got everybody from here to here. So we have a whole 3 hours of films of people's...
Belly buttons.
Yes, thank you.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I remember being up there one time in the summer and we were throwing... Remember Lake Sebago had like clay on the bottom and you could dig it out and we'd throw these clay bombs?
Yeah.
And we were in the water and he was up on the beach taking pictures of us and we're throwing clay. He's throwing clay back and he threw the camera into the water. Do you remember that?
I remember that. He also
What?
wants to watch that way. He threw the clay and oh, shit. Oops,
He just got so excited.
invite her in, huh?
Yeah, he just got so excited throwing things. So he threw what was in his hand. He threw the damn camera in the water. We were laughing so hard. Oh, he was so
That
mad.
ruined the camera? That's not a laughing matter.
No, it
Well,
wasn't. I mean,
with him, cameras weren't too scientific.
he
you
also
know.
had the Polaroids. Remember the Polaroids? You have to sit and you have to peel the paper and develop
Oh,
them.
pain in the neck, right?
He was
there.
one of the first guys I ever saw with that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know how he got into that, but
He was like ahead of his time, you know. Always wanted all those gadgets.
my favorite story of him as a handyman looking at the house over here gets me back to that subject. He's downstairs pounding away on his workbench, and all of a sudden you hear, "Oh shit! Shit! Teddy, get down here!" So we all run downstairs, and he's got a workbench here and his tools on the peg thing, and then above here he's got a shelf with all his paints up here, and he's banging away here. He hit it so hard that the paint can came down and spilled the paint all over him.
What color paint was it?
Green. I remember it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's well. He said more than that.
So what you're saying is your father was a painter.
Maybe that's where Tom got it.
Tom knows how to do it though. He's really a good painter.
Yeah.
Huh.
I hate him. He goes like this, and he knows to come back exactly like this.
Yeah.
So he's up there painting this one wall, and I'm going around rolling over the windows, you know, doesn't matter.
You can just scrape that off.
Yeah. Well, I leave him do it, you know.
Speaking of paintings,
Yeah.
Lisa showed us some of hers yesterday, and
She's very good, yeah.
Where did she pick that up? Can you
I
tell
have
us
no
about?
idea. I think she's adopted.
That wasn't the soundbite I was looking for.
Oh, all right. That's not a
Say
key.
something else, so she
All
doesn't
right.
see that. Okay. Say something
All right.
nice.
Well, as a child, she was kidnapped by a painter.
She told me she had a Picasso in her room.
Well, a copy of one. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, her son, what's her son's name? Leroy? No,
Padge.
Padgy, yes. I remember that name. He likes to shoot pictures on the computer,
Uh-huh.
and he can blow them up like this big. And he did one of the planets in color.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's in my living room, right? So I said, oh, I love one of those. So he gave me one, I put up there, and then I put down the bottom, I put his signature and number 13 of 22.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Did he make
cool.
that many copies?
No.
No, you just made that
He
up.
didn't sign it or anything, but it looks much better. People
gotcha.
are impressed with that crap.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, they're an artistic family over there, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
Even
know if
Bridge.
Chris isn't so. Bridgie is definitely.
What has she
artistic.
done? What?
She was a number 3 athlete in her age group in New York State,
Nice.
and then she quit.
Hmm.
But she was really good.
Mhm.
We went to a couple events, a couple hundred kids participating, or young ladies, and she ends up winning them. You know, top choice.
We saw some video of her doing hurdles yesterday.
That's the new thing. She's into track now.
Mm.
She's doing hurdles.
Well, she's kind of leggy too, though.
Yeah. Well, she's so light too.
Yeah.
You could probably throw her around.
I think I could.
So you were telling me about Aiden. Tell me about your grandkids there, the O'Connors.
I'd rather tell you about Patchy,
Okay.
or
I'll take what I can get.
Leroy, as we call him. Jesus, we call him, too. He's not too smart. He answers to everything. You know.
Maybe because he knows you call him everything.
Yes, that's true. He knows I don't remember. Well, Patchy and I have a joint venture going.
Really?
Yeah, 2 summers ago, he was playing wiffle ball.
Uh-huh.
Are we getting all of this? I don't want to.
Yes, we are. We are. Keep going.
And I would pitch to him, and he'd swing, you know, the way we used to do. And I told him when I was a kid, I got so good at this stuff. We used to play a game called Steam.
Steam.
Yeah.
STEAM.
I'm not so sure on the spelling,
Okay.
but I'll take your word for it. But we played we didn't have big schools, you know, schoolyards. So it was like we played against the building and had a strike zone drawn on the building. The batters,
Like stickball.
well, stickball, you play bases and running bases. Steam is only pitcher and catcher, maybe not a pitcher, a batter, and maybe an outfielder.
Uh-huh.
And if it went over the second basketball backboard, it was a home run
Okay.
if you hit it. That's how we played in a limited space, you know.
Hmm.
So I told him about that, and then we got the joint idea. It was like a brain trust of we could build a portable strike zone like that. So we got some PCB or whatever they call it.
PVC pipe.
That one too, yeah.
We went to Home Depot.
Yes, I did. I financed it.
So you want that half of the...
So we went 50-50
Contribution
and we
recognized.
builded this strike zone with the legs And I gave it to him, I authorized him to sell the product. But unfortunately, in 2 years, he hasn't sold it. You know, it's sitting in the garage. But at least I have the pride of having built that.
Yes, you have the patent, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
let
wanted
me,
to call it the Schwally, since I had struck out so much in the game of Steam, but he wouldn't have that.
oh my gosh.
So, but I talk of Patchy, not Aiden. Richie Aiden on the other hand,
Mm-hmm.
never came up with any joint ventures. He was kind of good though on doing puzzles. So I like puzzles.
Puzzles are
I'll tell you
good.
who else is good at puzzles is
Who's
little Liam and Ryder. I remember last time I was
Yeah,
here,
well-
they like them.
Yeah, that's my boys. We do them together. Especially good on 50 pieces. You know, if
50?
yeah, they have the puzzles like that. If they get a little more exotic, like 300 pieces, that takes me well, I guess I'm assigned, you know, in a joint venture you get assigned roles, and I'm the assigned turner over. So all the pictures of the pieces are showing up.
Right.
I see.
A key ingredient
Who does
to
the edges?
not me. No, I get to turn the pieces over.
That's it.
Yeah, I can separate them, all the edges. Edges, I've learned, have one side that's flat.
Yes.
This is very important. It could be the top side, the bottom, side.
So how do you know?
You have to study it. It's not that easy. Also, at the same time, you have to turn it up, because if you turn it down, then nobody will know what it is. And they'll say, Dr. Frank, would you come here? And I come in and put my microscope on it and turn it over, and the game can continue. So I've taught a lot of kids that and saved them a lot from drugs. And well, we do allow a certain amount of drugs at the puzzle parties, you know, but not too
Mostly
much.
what? Tylenol, or if you got a headache?
No, marijuana, I think it's pronounced.
Oh boy, this thing's gone off the rails.
It
Yeah.
has.
Oh, I'm not giving you this. What you want for?
No. Tell me not stories about your antics, but your grandkids' antics.
Well, I'm kind of the leader, you know, and
Yeah.
There's probably some truth to that.
we have a lot of little Franks running around. Well, not Frankfurters, but
Right.
we do have Frankfurters sometimes. So
Yeah.
Okay.
that's something else I introduced to the group.
Right.
I try to be a valuable player, but I'm running out of material, so,
Okay.
you know,
Very good.
as I get older, I run out of things.
You've
So-
already talked about everything.
Really. So then tell me, we're in Lido Beach right now?
Lido Beach,
So where did you go to the beach when you were little?
Jones Beach.
And tell us about that. Where is that?
Well, that was before ABCDEFDHIJKL. So Lido is after Jones. So you would have to come to Jones Beach and experience that before you could graduate and have children that had enough wherewithal to purchase at Lido Beach. Jones Beach, you get in for $10. No big deal.
In your day, how much was it?
Oh, $7.50.
That's all it's gone up in
Yeah.
a few years?
Well, we have a very astute financial group that runs the fees.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Seems like Jones Beach is a long way to go from Jamaica as a kid.
It is. That's why we got there once every 2 years.
You didn't
Yeah.
go to the beach that often?
Nah.
What would you do in the summers?
If we went to the beach, trying to get the sand out of our bathing suits on the way home, that was the biggie. We used to play stickball and hockey. We used to try to make teams, but we only had 2 friends, so it was tough to, it was myself and Tom. And Tom was kind of a painter then, so he wasn't a good goalie. He would paint as the puck came in, and a lot of injuries. We used to roller skate a lot.
Oh yeah?
Yep. Roller
Old
hockey.
school roller skates?
Yes.
They would clip on to your...
No, not clip. We'd have to screw them in.
And what would they... Screw
That
into
would
your
hurt.
feet, or what?
Yeah, Anthony.
Describe it more to me.
Well, you put the shoe on and it would have a clamp that came up, and then you get a screwdriver and a screw and screw it in.
So it grip your shoe. Yes?
No, we didn't wear shoes. It went right into the feet. That's why we didn't play it too often, because the wounds wouldn't heal. Although after a while, if we played a couple days in a row, the wounds would be permanent. It would be great. Then that would be a guy you would pick,
Yes.
for your city.
How about croquet? Talk about that. Croquet on the side yard there at the house.
Oh, that was tough, yeah.
Where, in Jamaica?
Yeah, Jamaica, we had a lawn.
That
We
was a good lawn.
we bought that house specifically for the croquet possibilities.
As do
The
most people.
only problem was we had a garage at the end of the croquet field with a window. And it actually worked out well because we must have broken that window every game. And then our father would say, replace that window. We got to learn how to putty it in.
Oh, you had to putty it then. You didn't use like a trim piece of wood around it? Right?
No. You used to have
So
to
you had the
stick a
glazing
little.
putty. The glazing
No,
putty.
you lay it in. The one side, the wood came down a little bit,
Right.
so you'd lay the glass against it, and then you'd stick little triangles into the wood so it would hold it all the way around, and then you put putty.
Yeah.
Only white putty, though.
Because it was white trim.
Yeah.
No, it was a white neighborhood.
Tell me, when did you guys move into that house? How old were you, or what year was it?
I was 32 or 13. No, I think I was younger than that. I think I was 3.
3.
Yeah.
So very young.
Yep.
And what do
It
you?
was difficult getting a mortgage, too.
That was a big house. I mean,
Yes.
Bigger than probably. What did you live in before that? Where was that house?
In Brooklyn, they have a lot of bridges.
Yeah.
And when the bridge comes down like this, when they built them, great for large cartons. You could sleep in the cartons there, and it was close to work or whatever jobs we had.
So what was your address? Do you remember?
I remember it was a Nabisco Crackers box, but I don't remember the number.
It doesn't stop.
No.
No, we had to stop before. If you didn't stop, you'd go on the other side of the bridge, and then there's no protection.
I see.
So tell me again, the house in Jamaica, do you remember that address?
8865,
8865 what?
180th Street in Jamaica.
In Jamaica.
Yep.
And
I remember my parents keep telling me different addresses. I don't know why, but every time I left the house, they said, don't forget your address is 1692 120th Street. And I said, you're kidding me, I know it's 8865. They said, oh yeah, we were just kidding.
When's the last time you went to that house?
Oh, years and years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you spent a lot of Christmases and Easter egg hunts and
Not together.
barbecues
No.
at that house. I know we did a few as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what about when you and your brothers were there? What was that like?
Well, we never actually had the Easter egg hunts at the same time as Christmas.
That's
There was something different about it.
And talk
I
about
know
your
it was the
tradition.
snow. In the winter, you couldn't hunt Easter eggs.
I remember sledding down that street though. There was a little bit of a hill.
Yep, 2 blocks you could go, right?
Yeah.
in the street.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because 180th was the front of the house, right? What was the
Correct.
street along
90th
the side?
Avenue.
90th. We used to sled down 90th.
right. And it was kind of dangerous. Well,
Yeah,
our
I'd
parents.
say so.
Our parents thought it was dangerous, but we didn't. We knew when the cars were coming on 81st Street, 181, you know. So the idea was to get a good speed going and then put your toe out to kind of control the speed as you get to the next block so you could lean forward and see if a car was coming. If not, you picked your toe up and went the second one.
There's probably a lot fewer cars then too.
Oh, yeah. Model Ts.
And what, on 108th Street, if you walk.
180th.
80th, yeah.
Street, you walk down that block, there was like a major road there,
Wasn't
wasn't there?
Hillside Avenue.
Hillside.
What was down there? What kind of, did you like have shops you'd go there or convenience or whatever?
Yeah, that was where I really got to know the facts of life, to tell you the truth. There are all kinds of stores, you know, a diner, and they would sell clothes. But the worst was a stamp shop. They, you know, people used to save stamps. My brother Tom was a stamp saver, but he was unfortunately on the wrong side of the business, because we used to go up and I say, hey Tom, look, I bought these 3 stamps. It was just $1. And he said, oh, I got these, and he'd have like 20 stamps. And I said, how much does that cost you? He says, nothing, I just took them. He used to take the stamps in the store.
From the register or?
No, from the guy'd be showing them, and I'd say, well, how about these over here? And he'd come over to us, and Tom would obviously,
Swipe the stamps.
yeah.
Little
So,
thief.
well, he taught us, you know, it's much better to steal if you can save $1, you know.
That's right.
And he got some good stamps.
What else, what other stores were down there?
Chinese food,
Nice.
supermarket, drugstore. I worked in the drugstore.
What's the name? Do you remember the name of the drugstore?
Kopman's,
Copman.
yes.
And what did you do in the drugstore, pray tell?
Well,
Also where he learned
Tell
about
us the
life.
truth. Don't tell us a joke.
no, this is
How
taped.
old were you? When did you start there?
14 till maybe, well, it was 1 week I was there and he fired me. But
Tell us the real story.
yeah, well, it was,
It was really 3 days, wasn't it?
well, that's almost a week technically, you know, and
So you're 14. Did you go apply for the job? Did you go in?
Yes.
Tell us
It was
how that worked out.
a tough interview. Right away, he started with the hard stuff. He says, what's your name? And I was pretty smooth. I said, well, I have a brother that's Tom, and that's not my name. You know, and I was going on. And he said, no, just your name. So it's really tough. So I told him my name. He asked for a social security number. I would not give him that. And I didn't give him any credit cards. I gave him my father's social security number. And he said, you're not 42 years old, Frank.
You sure?
So he got me. So anyway, after about 2 minutes of that, he says, okay, you're hired.
For the position of?
Assistant. Anything he wanted me to do, I would do.
So what are some things you would do?
I would go around. It was not a big store, but I would go around from one corner to the other side, dusting all the shelves and putting everything in place. If an order came in, I'd take it out of the thing, check off that the things were there, put the pills in the right places, in their storage place, and give him the bill so he knew he could pay it. I would bring things up from the basement to resupply the shelves. Every once in a while, they let me take a customer.
And you'd ring them up, or?
No, I'd just keep the cash. It was good, yeah. And I had a little side business going with my buddies came in, and I could give him discounts if he wasn't looking,
Like the MARTA store,
Yeah.
I think we're merging here. So was that your first job?
Yes,
Kaufman's?
Kaufman's,
Kaufman's.
a good
And
Jewish
that was your
man.
local drugstore that you had gone in there from.
Sure, I had,
Moved in that house.
yeah,
3 years old till.
he was supplying me with all my drugs, actually.
So he knew you.
Yeah, well, yeah, didn't know me well enough, but
Yeah, you still got.
he knew of me, yeah.
And then okay, so that's your first job at a drugstore.
Right.
What came after that?
I went to work for another Jewish person, Louis Hirsch.
Hirsch. Okay.
Sounds like a butcher.
No, he was a candy store owner,
Ooh.
and he had the good sense to buy a candy store right outside the subway when they came up out of the subway from the city, hot and sweltering, and we made the best egg creams.
Oh, really?
Yes,
So,
seltzer water.
custard, right?
Yeah. I've never had one. Why don't you?
Oh Jesus! It's seltzer,
Okay.
chocolate syrup, and mix it up.
Okay, that's it. No ice
Yeah.
cream or anything?
No. That was extra. Yeah, so I was a pretty good seltzer. We used to bust our asses, actually.
It was busy.
Yeah. 10 cents and 15 cents
For,
on the size of the glass,
okay.
I remember we had cigarettes. We used to sell Camels and Chesterfields, 3 cents.
Just a single cigarette, or is that?
No, pack of
3
10.
cents for a pack?
Yep. The Daily News was 3 cents.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what did you get paid?
Yeah.
What-
3 cents.
Everything was 3 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was easy for him, yeah.
So that was,
And I could make myself a soda. That was good.
yeah. So what was the name of his store? Was it just Hirsch's, or what?
Just candy store.
Convenience store?
Yeah.
Okay, so how long did you work there, you think?
Oh, a couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 32 when I left.
No.
No, that was another
So
store.
that was what, 14 or 15 then?
Yes, I think until I started going to high school in the city, and I didn't have time,
Yeah. So,
Good coffee.
so during high school, did you work?
No.
Because you concentrated so hard on your grades, is that right?
Oh, I thought you meant did I work at high school?
Oh.
No, I didn't work too much at high school.
So
I had what you called a gentleman's C.
Gotcha. A Mercy C. I
Yes,
think they call it.
right.
Yes.
There wasn't a class I couldn't get through. Actually, then I went to Queens College, and I was so astute that the first night I went up and registered all by myself. Got all the classes I wanted, and I was all set to leave, and then there's an arrow that's pointing over this way, and I said to one guy, what's the arrow for? I'm going out the door. He says, no, you got to pay first. And this was a new concept for me. I didn't realize you had to pay for the classes. So, being astute, I called my father and said, can you pick me up and bring your checkbook? So that's how I got into my first grade. But after that, I knew it was a lot of money for the colleges, though. I think I paid $30 a credit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, by that time, you're in college, you have 3 young children.
Well, I actually had 5 kids,
Oh boy.
but we decided that was too big a family, so we gave 2 away.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So,
I think it was John and Rick that we. No, I don't think so. I forget their names.
yeah. So what was your first adult job?
Working for National Biscuit Company.
Okay.
Perfect company. I figured they had offices with cookies all around. Comes out to be just the operations headquarters, and there's no cookies anywhere.
Oh my.
What a piece of crap.
So what did you do there then?
Communications. I was in communications.
You what, like PR or?
No, I gave out the mail.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were mail boy or mailman?
I thought you were an accountant at National Biscuit Company.
No. Maybe at the end, yeah.
So this was just a entry level job
Yeah.
to get started.
Well, no, it was much more important than that.
Okay,
But
I'm minimizing it. I know.
yeah,
I didn't mean to offend you.
I know you have to make it for
I'm
the.
trying to tell a story here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that would be more. Yeah.
And then
So-
you were going to college at the same time.
Yes.
So maybe then you progressed inside
Yes,
National Biscuit Company?
I forget what my second job. Oh, I know. Data processing. I
Really?
ran a big machine, this huge, that read all of the order slips. The sales officers used to send in their reports of what they sold, what product, and it was on a sheet that you would mark the numbers, color in the boxes.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
this machine, you would feed the slips in, and they would read it and develop their sales orders.
Wow, so that was early data processing.
Definitely, yes.
What, that was
Well,
in
was
the
they-
60s?
It was so early they called it only data.
Okay,
Yeah, processing came later.
that's pretty cool.
And then I had like 20 girls that were key punching the things as they came in and correcting them as they came out of the machines.
How did you get into that?
Just an opening, and I guess I flashed some stuff, you know, showed them the ability to handle mail as it came in.
Yes.
Yes. And so I did that for a couple of years.
Pretty good.
And then I got into the financial area with acquisitions and reporting on acquisition companies.
Is this all in national?
National business. I was there for nine years. Yeah, NBC. They abbreviated it, but we called it National Biscuit. You know. So then my job there was to get the financial statements from our 20 subsidiary companies and put them in a format that the board of directors could review, because they couldn't understand financials statements. And I would write a monthly report for the board of directors.
Wow.
So what were some of the subsidiaries they had?
Well, mostly cookie companies.
So smaller cookie companies?
Regional
Yeah.
ones?
Yeah, Mexico, Brazil.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good. So I would interpret their financials and put them in an abbreviated form for the higher ups and write a summary about it. So I did that for a while, and then the boss of the department left, and they made me the boss So I was, at 29, I was the youngest manager in National Biscuit.
Nice.
Wow,
Yeah.
so you were manager over what? Acquisitions? Or?
Yes, reporting to the vice president for acquisitions.
Wow, so how long did that last?
1 year. I left then
And
'Cause-
why did you leave?
because I was only making $9,000. That wasn't a living wage then, so I went to Revlon.
Oh,
You did? Revlon? I don't remember that at all.
I was only there for a couple months, but they brought me into a similar position for $12,000.
hey, that's a big increase.
Yeah. So, but it was like a game,
Like
kid and game show. All young people just goofing around, dating, and all this stuff.
Really?
I could see it was really going nowhere. So I started looking for a job, and I got a job at Edwards and Hanley.
I remember that name.
Yeah,
what did they do?
stock brokerage.
Was it?
Yeah, there I was in the accounting department.
Okay.
12 people, and I quickly rose to be the assistant to the vice president. And then, like the third year, they made me not vice president, but took over his job because they promoted him. And then the next week, the company went out of business.
That's
Yeah, well, no, it didn't, because I got the title on my resume. And the next company I was with is Dirks,
how do you spell that?
Dierckx. It's a Dutch name. They sold forklift trucks
Uh-huh.
and all kinds of storage, like racks and all that stuff. So I came in there as the financial VP. Reorganized their accounting department, and basically did really well. I was with them for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and made a new accounting department. We added 3 companies. I did a lot of good stuff in that company. But then I decided that since I was so good at leasing and financing, that I would start my own company. And I guess it was 1975. That sticks in my brain, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I quit them and started my own business, and I've been working for myself since then. Not making any money, but working for myself.
And that was FAS or at least?
That was, what the hell do I call it? Some kind of leasing. Not confidential, creative leasing systems.
That's right.
So I ran that, and then I got into real estate financing. Then I got into, all under the same heading. I got into analyzing businesses' financial statements, seeing what they had to change to make it profitable, and also to be able to get loans from banks. And then I would take them and get loans and get a fee off of that, and that's what I did really for most of the rest of my career.
So you were like a loan originator.
Yeah. But not so much a loan originator. I did it differently. I walked into a company and I see their financials and I say, well, they're not getting a loan. So then I analyzed what they had to do and how they had to change the presentation on their financial statements so that they would get the loan, So it's more like a business consultant, which was, that was attractive to me, because you learn a lot. Well, you know the same thing. You go in and everybody has a little different way of doing it. and what's not working or what's working. You know, you can apply what this guy did to this guy's
Yeah.
situation. The only difference for me was every business was a different type of business. They weren't all doing the same thing.
Right.
So it was, you know, like intriguing. You really had to learn a business as you went in. So that was the charge of the thing, you know, knowing you could go into almost anybody's business, and even if they were a schlock outfit, you could turn them into something that they could make money at. That's what I see at Rick.
Mm-hmm.
You see all the short things he's not doing that he could be doing to be so much more profitable. That's like I said to him, you go to sell your business, you don't have a financial statement that when the guy says, oh, I'll give you $500,000 for it, and you say, oh no, it's worth $1 million. How do you prove that? If you have an audited statement, you got something to fight him with. If the way he does it now, during the year, they write down the numbers that he takes off each month or something on an envelope, and they adds up the envelopes at the end of the year and gives it to the accountant to make a statement of. So it's no planning as to how the financial statements should look at the end of the year. There's no, you know, so one year he's up here, one year he's down here, you know, so a guy coming in looking at it, whoa, what do you got here, you know? So he could cost himself $500,000 in selling his business.
So how did you as the leasing person would go into these businesses, and in order to make a recommendation to them, you had to learn the business and they provide you some information, I'm assuming. How did you gain their trust? I mean, I can't walk into a business and say, let me see your books and I'll tell you how to run your business.
No, that's very true. I've found, excuse me, the most effective way was to carry a gun. Yeah, that drew their attention and drew their respect. But no, it's you start with the financials. That's what they're showing to everybody.
Is that the public information?
Well, yeah, the financials are what they give to the bank. Please give us a loan. Here's our financials. So you look what they're doing there. Then you get the cook's tour. They take you around and show you what everything is. And really, every business is basically simple. If you break it down, you know, they're not doing rocket science. They're making bolts, or, you know, where do you buy them? What's your markup? It's all the same.
Right.
It's all the same. All you have to do is simplify it in your mind and see what the objective is, and it's a turkey shoot then, you know.
A turkey shoot.
But I don't understand. Do they come looking for you and say, here, let me show you my books, you help us? Or
I walk
you
down,
have to show them-
I can walk down the street and say, this guy could be a client. He's the type of business that I've been successful with before. And I have a reference from this guy that, hey, Frank got me a couple $100,000 and I couldn't get anything, you know? So
That's what you would do.
yeah, I'd market myself to them.
And then you'd go in, would you call them? Was it a cold call? Would you go there?
Cold call, sure. Yeah. You're creating a lead.
Contact.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas you have the leads come to you, which is nice. You don't have to go search for them too
When I was
much.
doing a consulting, yes. Now I'm recruiting, so it's all cold call, basically.
And that's tough business. You got to really push yourself. You got a good personality for it.
Gotta have good product and service too, though. That's
Yeah.
what sells it.
Well, as a pushy salesman, you're pushing your people to give you those products. Hey, I can't sell if you give me shit, you know?
Yeah.
I'm good, but not that good. And then,
Go ahead.
no, that's all right.
So what would you say to someone? Say I'm a flower shop or no, something you know about, vehicles or,
You don't have to know anything about them.
so what would you say? I'm a shop owner and I'm selling,
How's business?
it could be better.
Why do you say that?
Well, I mean, we're making a little money, but I'm working my butt off, you know.
Well, that's owning a business.
Mm.
Yeah, but
Okay,
it's
would you-
the thing is to do it smart or smarter so that you get a better return.
Yeah,
So
that'd be nice.
I've worked with a number of small businesses, and it's usually the same thing. The owners are dedicated, intelligent, and they're working like mad and not seeing the results they think they should see.
Sounds
So
familiar.
so I go in and look at their business, see what they're doing, what they're trying to do, look at their financials, and then offer suggestions as to how you can improve what you're doing, improve your processes. Maybe it's a different kind of computer system you need. Maybe it's not doing the work it should, you know, or maybe you don't have the right staff. You know, but there's an array of problems that could be, or it could only be a small tinkering. But it takes an outside person coming in and looking at it with a broad background that has seen applications in all different industries that can bring ideas from this industry or this industry that'll solve your problems, and pretty soon you won't have to come in to work, you know.
Well, that sounds good, but it sounds expensive. How do you get paid?
I get paid on results. Depending on what you want me to do, you know, we could say I need a month of meetings, and that'll cost you $5,000, something like that. It's not much. Or it could be on the basis of funding that I get for you. You pay me a percent on that, but it's paid on success. It's not, you know, if I don't do anything for you, I don't want to get paid. You know, that's the way I like to work.
So you love, when you were working, you loved, I guess, being flexible and figuring out, and
Yeah,
whether it's
games.
whether it's the business you go in, you don't care what business, or whether it's what the fix is, you don't
The
care.
screwed up business is, the better I like it. Yeah, it's a challenge.
And then it's also even how you get paid. That's flexible.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. It is. It's hard, you know, when they say, "What do you get paid?" If you say, "Well, I got 10,000 for the first month," it's like, you know, what are you doing for me in 10,000? There's no quantitative thing you could say. Well, I'm going to get you reduced hours. So I try to tie it more into performance. But sometimes you get screwed doing that. You could say, all right, I got you this loan, it'll cost you 1%. Well, Joe Blow can give it to me for 0.5%. You know, I've done a month's work and get paid nothing, you know?
Right.
So you got to be careful for those guys.
Yeah.
I got burned that way, you know. I mean, I guess you got to throw it out there to take the chance, you know. And if you're there for a month and build a relationship, that should overcome the guy coming in with a 0.5 point, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, he didn't do anything to get the loan. You did.
Yeah. Well, he's got another loan, but you know, it's a 0.5 point difference.
Yeah. So you have to have that relationship.
Right.
Where he wants to go with you, even though it might cost him a little more that way.
Exactly.
So, well, then you start charging them a fee if they don't do the loan funding.
Yeah. But you have to have that agreement up front, which is the problem. That's a stumbling block, the agreement. You know, they like you, they like what you're saying, but they don't want to pay any money for it until you produce a loan. And then they can reject the loan if they want at the last minute and go with some
Well, you can build
dipshit.
that in the contract too. If I provide the loan at the terms you want or better, you either pay me and get your own funding, or I get part
Yeah,
of
you
the-
could do it that way. But again, the difficulty is establishing a contract up front and getting them to commit to that.
Mhm.
You know,
Well, then you have to question their
whether they're going to be a
willingness to actually want to grow the business or to
Exactly.
get the funds to. I mean, are you really serious about XYZ, about adding a new production line or whatever? I mean,
yeah. But are you willing to risk the entire relationship at that point?
Right, when you're cold calling or.
Yeah,
early
yeah.
on.
You're desperate for an order, say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What were some of the companies, so you had a wide experience over a breadth of industries.
Yeah.
What were some that you remember that stuck out, whether they were big or whether they were fun or whether it was cool, you know, interesting? That businesses that you helped or deals that you made with?
That's a good question. I kind of, didn't develop favorites. I mean, if you made a big payday on one, it was nice. I got a real estate financing for a company that couldn't get it, and I made $39,000 a commission on it. That was a nice one. But like helping everybody is like its own reward. And I never really had a hit list of who was number one, who was number two. I just, I was too busy focusing on how do I accomplish this? What do I got to do here? So that was more the reward than the names of the companies.
Right.
But I can give you a list of successes.
Well, I'll need some
It's confidential, but
of course, none of these companies exist anymore.
right. It's confidential, and even I don't know the names,
Yeah, or can't remember.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm having that problem as I get older.
Yes.
I can't remember. Yeah. And I fall a lot too, so.
So what, after that then, when did you work at JFK and all, does that come after
JFK,
that, or-
yeah, I got a job
So
with.
finish your leasing, your CLS or?
Yeah, creative leasing. I couldn't. That stream kind of ran till today. I still look for stuff. Not as active as I was, but
Sure.
I got an offer from an engineering company to come and work for them as their contract administrator. And they were working with the Long Island Railroad, the City of New York, Port Authority of New York. And they really were screwed up. So I would take the contracts and go out and meet with the agencies to see where we were and if we can get additional business. So it was selling and it was negotiation. These guys said, we're not paying you a fucking penny. And, if you get 500,000 out of them, that's like a big gain. And then I was working with the Port Authority, and they said they're doing this deal with JFK light rail system, and they needed people in the I guess contract administration department to see that the contractors were delivering what the contract called for. So I took
Almost
that.
like a compliance audit or something.
Yeah. But it was like a 5-year job and 60 miles of track. It was a lot of work and all stuff I hadn't done before. So it was real good that way. I had about 20 inspectors that would go out and make reports on how much concrete was poured and what the temperature was and all that crap. So you could tell, or you could determine that they've done their part on the contract, and they'd be okay to get paid for that portion of work. So it was a good project. And then at the end, it tailed down that they wanted to reduce the staffs, and the head of the department left, and I was, one of the last guys because I had to do all the reports. They couldn't close until all the reports were done, and there were books like this that I had to put together. So they had to keep me on, but they couldn't keep me on with the engineering firm. I had to be independent, which worked to my benefit. So instead of getting $35 an hour, I was getting $60 an hour, and I was telling them how many hours I was working a week, which actually went up too. So I did that for about a year, and I made a bundle. Yeah. Yep. And I made my own hours. I came in, left when I wanted. And that was good. So I finished up that, and then Tom and I started doing Baltimore, New Orleans, New Jersey.
And what was that called? Was that a nonprofit or?
Yeah, it turned out to be a non. Yeah.
How did that come about?
Tom had friends in Baltimore that said, if you come down, you can buy houses for 25 grand and sell them, fix them up and sell them to us for 50. Guaranteed takeout, So that sounded good to us. So we went down and we bought 50 houses. Tom bought 50 houses. And when it came time to sell it to them, we don't have any money now, and we're not going to do that anymore. So we turned into, we have to rent them. We can't leave them standing there. We had to rent them or try to sell them. We ended up selling 25 of them, but the mistake we made, or Tom made, was that he put the money back in and bought more.
So if you'd have sold 25, you bought 50, you'd at least got even.
Right. Except for the work you put in.
Right.
Yeah. And the help you hired. But the other problem, Tom bought the houses at 25. He did good there. So I said to him, where are they? Well, there's a couple over here in the east, and there's a couple downtown, and a couple in the west. Problem is, if you got a street of burnt-out houses, and you improve one of the houses, who are you going to sell it to? Somebody is not going to move into that house unless the whole block is done. So we ended up with building these houses, not being able to sell them, and then getting stuck with them, having to rent them out to people who knew the game and knew they can get in and pay 1 month's rent. And then it took us 6 months to get them out through the courts, unless we had left-handed Louis who could go in, but we didn't want to do that.
So how did you guys get snookered by this guy who said, buy them and I'll help you double your money? Was he authentic, or was he just messing with you, or?
It was a lady. It was, no, I think she thought she could do, but she couldn't. She didn't have the connections. Although she did hook us up with the 25-unit sale. So that poor sucker's still keeping his houses, But the big mistake was buying them all over the place. Mm-hmm. We were shot. That screwed the whole deal, because you couldn't sell them as separate units in a burnt-out area, and that's all of Baltimore.
Yeah. You need to buy a block and just do a whole block.
You needed to go into the mayor and say, we're putting $500,000 in, but we're not going to do it unless we get this. And if he says, okay, and he had the power. He owned a lot of stuff. So he could have said, I'll give you this block. Let's see how you do there. And that would have been good for the city, good for us. Because once we got that deal, the next one come real easy.
Mm-hmm. So
we went down to New Orleans, and they said, pick out the houses you want. and we'll give them to you. No cost. Hey, can't go wrong. We had a minister down there that was a partner, and he was like this with the mayor, who ended up going to jail.
Was that Ray Naked?
Yeah. Real dynamic, but a real thief.
Well,
Yeah.
They're known for years and years and administration after administration of corruption.
Yep.
So
We picked out 243 houses, and they said, we checked them out, looks good, and we got, we're doing it the way we should have done it in Baltimore. So we said, okay. They said, go home, we'll call you when it's ready. So like 6 months, nothing happened. Then they called, come on down. We're all set to move ahead. And it was a meeting of all the contractors who had bid on houses, and we all had our lists that we were going to get, and we were ready to go. So we come down and they give us our list back of the approved houses, and we say, excuse me, sir, there's a problem here. There's only 3 houses that are approved. What happened to the other 240? Oh, some of the other contractors had bid on them too, and we gave them to the local guys instead of you. But we can give you 3 houses to build if you're ready to go. And we said, there's no economic justification to do that.
Right, 3 houses isn't enough.
Yeah, and Katrina, they needed it was blocks and blocks that you could see in the houses. Up over the first window, there's the water line,
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been an opportunity to rebuild the whole damn area, and they just politicked it away. So that's screwed there. In New Jersey, we had a church and a school that we were going to convert into condos. It's situated right next to a big hospital, which you'd get all your tenants right from the hospital. So we worked out plans for them, and we had it all set. They were ready to go, and the hospital closed, taking all the rentals away. So that screwed New Jersey, and then we screwed Baltimore. We were down there for 5 years, and I was up at 2 a.m. pounding, putting down this shit. It was amazing. A perfect example of what not to do, how not to build a business,
That's how you learn.
Yeah. Yep. I wish somebody would have taught us. It would have saved Tom a lot of money.
Well, neither of you were really in real estate before that. You said you did some financing.
Yeah. Well, you
what
thought
made you think you could do real estate? Because
we were Schwalenbergs. We know. No problem.
fair enough.
Yeah. Well, we had the attitude there was no problem. We couldn't resolve no matter what it is. You walk into a house and you step through the floor on the first floor and go into the basement. Oh, we'll have to replace this.
Wow.
Yeah.